streaming live, and today is Wednesday. It is June 5th, 2024. And this is Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And I want to thank all of you for, hang on a second. All right. I want to thank all of you for being on board with me here at The Healthy American. We are going to be talking about the news coming out of Hawaii, Maui in particular. And some of you have been sending me videos. I'm going to share one with you about this news coming out about the Maui Fire Chief Battalion, who is stepping down amidst these allegations of, I'm just going to put it, say, sexual misconduct. You know me, I always like to dig deeper. I don't trust the headlines. I don't believe the headlines. We don't know what the truth is, but I want to share with you what I have been doing over the last several months in terms of digging into the inconsistencies of what happened in Maui. And then I want to hear from you. Did you hear about this story? Do you believe the story? Could there be something else behind the story? That's what we're going to dig into. And before we do that, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's show. And we are hopping right on over to noblegoldinvestments.com. You know who else is a spokesperson for Noble Gold Investments? Kevin Sorbo. And it looks like there's Charlie Kirk as well. So there is a recession tsunami incoming. De-dollarization, how about that phrase? Bank failures are looming. There's financial destruction on the horizon. But here you've got Kevin Sorbo. You probably know him. He's a legendary actor. He's a savvy investor, and he has your lifeline. It's called the Economic Crisis Toolkit. So you can go here to noblegoldinvestments.com. I'll have a link for you in the description box below. And you can get Noble Gold's expertise and Sorbo's wealth wisdom so you can navigate the storm and emerge victorious. So you get this free, comprehensive toolkit that includes exclusive videos, in-depth guides, and eye-opening webinars. This is an arsenal of financial knowledge, and it is yours absolutely free. So this is for those of you that want to recession-proof your wealth. Don't wait for this economic wave to crash down on your dreams. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now. Sign up for the Economic Crisis Toolkit. You can see it right here. You're going to click on that link there. And I will also have a link for you in the description box below, along with the disclaimer that there's always a risk of investment. There's no guarantee of any kind, but check it out for yourself from the experts at Noble Gold Investments. Give them a call, 877-646-5347, and get all of your questions answered by their all-American experts. Friends, I received from more than one of you the headlines and links to videos about the Maui Fire Chief Battalion. And I want to set up this story for you a little bit. And by way of doing that, we are going to go over to the Healthy American YouTube channel. Take a moment, if you will, to resubscribe, because YouTube loves to unsubscribe my subscribers. I'm probably the only channel on YouTube that is losing subscribers while gaining views. Very strange, but here we have it. When you go to the Healthy American, Peggy Hall, don't just click on home. They're only going to show you a few old videos. You need to click on videos, and that's where I have all of my uploaded premieres where they air, where everybody can comment in the chat. And I hope you're commenting in the chat right now. And then, of course, I've got my live videos. And here I've got, oh my gosh, going over 9,000 views on the Boy Did I Ruffle Some Feathers about my Del Bigtree coverage. I'm going to continue that coverage. And I did a live video, which was on that topic, where I showed the, let's see, where was that? Or maybe it was not a live, but I did a video about Del Bigtree's vaccine confidence bill. Anyhow, what I want to show you are the playlists. So when you click on playlist, that is going to give you an option. And I want you to go to my Maui playlist. And on that Maui fires, I've got nearly 60 videos for you. And that is, you can see all of the videos here. And again and again and again, dare I say again, in my videos, I had let me just show one for you right here. I had this one in particular called Questions That Will Never Be Answered. And in this one, I was asking who was on the ground during the fire. And we never got that answer. In fact, we actually sent in to the Freedom of Information Act at the County of Maui, and we asked them several questions. Who was in charge? Because the Maui fire chief of the whole department was not on the island. We were told that he was in Colorado helping his daughter get off to school, although there were others that said, some eyewitnesses that said that he was on the island. So I don't know the truth because I wasn't on the island. And again, I asked, who was the incident commander? This is important for today's video. Who was the incident commander? Who was in charge of the fire crews during the fire in Lahaina? We never got that answer. I never got an answer to the question, how many, what was the number of firefighters? How many were on the crew? And when were they dispatched? And when were they called back? Those are simple questions that all should be logged. Any of you that work in fire departments, police departments, I don't know, maybe you're an emergency responder with ambulance or paramedics, that's all logged. It is all logged like to the second. It has to be so precisely recorded. And we were not given any of that information. I've been asking for that information for months. And just like we're never going to get answers to other questions, to other crazy things that have been going on that were shown in the news, like we're never going to get the name of who was the pilot captain in Baltimore, because there is a pilot captain for that port who is required by law to be on board navigating that ship or helping to navigate that ship through the port. We never got that answer. We never got the names of the crew members on that dolly. I never got reasons why Israel was so woefully unprepared when we are told that they are the top military in the world, yet for hours at a time, there were no responders to what we were told was happening. So I have so many questions about all of these things, and I'm going to continue asking them. And going back into August, right, we're almost coming up on a year. We're 3 months shy of a year. So why could we never be told who was on the scene during the fire? Well, apparently out of the blue, a week ago, we were told that this man, and I'm going to share this with you, this is why it's so strange to me, our Freedom of Information Act requests were denied. Now, I did Substacks on this. If you would like to go back and see that, it's peggyhall.substack.com. And a Substack is a written blog or newsletter. It's free. I thank all of you that have upgraded to a paid subscription to thank me for the research and work that I do that you find value in. But I shared with you exactly what we wrote to the county, unanswered. By the way, I shared with you a video a couple of days ago, the questions that I sent to Del Bigtree about his vaccine confidence bill, those went unanswered. It was a very lengthy, well-written email by my assistant at my request to find out why they were promoting such a thing as having confidence in vaccines. Yeah, I know that threw people off, and I ruffled some feathers over that. So I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers again. And here's why. Most people, not you, my smart, savvy, sophisticated, supportive, and sometimes snarky, healthy Americans who can read between the lines, who dig deeper, who don't take at face value these headlines that are thrown and sloshed all over us. But there are some people that want everything to be tidy and everything tied up and put away so that they can move on with their lives. They don't want to take the time to dig deeper and to think more deeply and to think critically and to ask simple questions such as, why this, why now, why this guy? You'll also remember that I broke so much information about Maui, and I'm grateful that people watched my videos and then used my research to create their own videos based on the hours that I had spent researching and connecting the clots. Hey, I'm all in favor of getting the information out there with adequate attribution to who did the research. But I digress. So I also was so concerned about, I knew that they were going to make the emergency operations director on Maui the fall guy. They fired him because of his inept behavior. Well, he's called the fall guy because they had to pin it on somebody so that they thought everybody would sigh a breath of relief and say, good, this was the man that fell down on the job. This is the man that didn't put the emergency sirens, which we still never heard why that never happened. We never heard why the water was turned off. Certainly couldn't have anything to do with the fact that it was an electrical fire, and electrical fires cannot be put out by water. And by electrical fire, I think you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I think you do know what I mean. So we never got those questions answered, but I did predict that the fellow who was the emergency director was going to be pointed at and kicked out. And that's exactly what happened. That's called the fall guy. Now, suddenly, out of the blue, when we have never been told who the incident commander was on Maui, are you following me? I know you are. We're going to head right on over to a couple of these headlines. And here we have it. Shawn Rogers. I'm just going to point out the fact that he does not look Hawaiian, all right? I'm pointing that out because it's a fact. Can I point out the fact that he's a man and that his skin is white? I'm just pointing out a fact that this is the one that we're being told that he is accused and being charged with sexual improprieties that went over a period of years. Now, that right there makes me skeptical. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I actually don't know the truth, and you don't know the truth. Only Shawn Rogers knows the truth, and my hope and prayer is that the truth will come out. Here's why I'm skeptical. And actually, let's do this. Before I tell you why I'm skeptical, I also want to play for you a short video clip. And actually, here we have information about Shawn Rogers. All right. Shawn Rogers, a battalion chief, joined the department, the Maui Fire Department, in 1999 as a firefighter. I don't know, this is AI or something. He worked in Lahaina on both the engine and the ladder. In 2005, he was promoted to firefighter 2, blah, blah, blah. It goes on. And then in 2012, he was promoted to fire captain, working in Hula'ilua, and some, I can't pronounce these correctly, and in Napili. So his promotion to battalion chief will have him overseeing the department's 2nd battalion. All right, this is him. Now, let me stop sharing my screen because I'm trying to see where I had the video, and here we have it. I am going to share my screen, and we are going to hear just a couple of minutes, if that, about this news, and then I want to tell you my analysis. All right, I'd love to hear yours. Here we go.
And then breaking news, new details in the indictment of a Maui fire chief charged with sex assault and continuous sexual assault of a minor. The new court documents say Battalion Chief Shawn Rogers began abusing the victim in 2019 when she was about 12 years old, and the alleged assaults continued for about 2.5 years. Rogers, who is 52 years old, turned himself in today after a warrant was issued for his arrest last week. Rogers is a 25-year veteran of the Department of Fire and Public Safety and was the incident commander during the August wildfires.
All right. I hope you caught the last sentence. He was the incident commander during the August wildfires. Now, they put that in sort of as a throwaway line. It wasn't even leading the story. They snuck that in so that people would go, oh, so is that the guy? Were we told about that previously? No, we were never told about it previously, period. Now, this is why it's so strange to me. And if you've ever seen a movie or read a novel or a mystery, or if you have ever been involved in being a whistleblower, if you were, let me just connect the clots as I see it. The fact that this is coming out so many months later, when the public has not been informed, at least not to my knowledge, that he was the incident commander, he was the one overseeing, we're told, the firefighters during the August wildfires in Lahaina. We still were not told how many were on that crew. I brought you so many videos of the Duper's Delight where these firefighters were chuckling and laughing, where the fire chief himself was smiling and yucking it up, where the governor and the FEMA and director and others were laughing and joking and smiling when they didn't know the cameras were running. I've done several videos about the duper's delight, meaning they're pulling the wool over your eyes. They're bamboozling you. Not you smart ones, but the others that are falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. So let me just lay this out as to why I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because we were never told about this guy earlier. If there's nothing to hide, why didn't we know that he was the battalion chief during that time? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Maybe no crews ever were sent. We also don't know that. Maybe they were. Maybe he was the battalion chief commander. If so, why were they hiding it? Why didn't they come out with it? Now he's being blamed for these sexual harassment. I just want to be a little, a little sensitive on this channel. And it's possible that it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm also not saying that it did happen. I want you to hear me clearly. I'm certain that there are plenty of authentic, legitimate cases that take many years to come forth into the public eye for many reasons. Maybe the young girl wasn't believed. Maybe she was afraid. Maybe she's being threatened. It said that it went on for years. I mean, 12, 13, 14. At what age do you speak up or not speak up? Like, I don't know the particulars, and neither do you. And I don't think we're going to be told. It also is possible. You got to admit, it is possible that he was a whistleblower and that he didn't want to go along with whatever shenanigans were being foisted upon everyone else in all of the unanswered questions that went on in this very peculiar scenario with all the unanswered questions. Possibly he couldn't be bought off. Possibly he knew what was going on and he was a whistleblower. This happens frequently. And the most heinous crime, in my view, that somebody could have pinned upon them is this kind of sexual exploitation. It ruins your career. It ruins your reputation. It ruins everything. So to have that pinned on you is far more disastrous than just being fired or taking an early retirement. Or in some cases, they'd probably knock them off and they're found like as a suicide or whatever. So it makes me skeptical that we never heard about this fellow previously. Suddenly, he was the one that was the battalion chief. We can't trust him. Well, that's probably why Lahaina burned, because this guy wasn't doing his job. You have to admit, it's possible. Am I saying that's exactly what happened? How can I say that? But how can I say that this is true? I can't, and neither can you. If it's on the news, I always default that I don't believe it. All right. That's just me. And I've had plenty of stories on this channel about the unbelievable extent of corruption in Hawaii in particular, not just Orange County, California, not just New York and Texas and other places where the corruption is unbelievable. You should see and I hope you will see my videos under that Maui playlist of the flabbergasting levels of corruption in Hawaii. So no, I do not accept things that are spoon-fed to me so that I'll feel better. Of course that guy, we can't trust him. Well, now we know who was in charge. It was probably his fault. And then all of the little brains that aren't able to think clearly or deeply or take the time to dig in or think about it, they're going to say, good, there's a question that was answered. I can put it behind me and move on. Well, I'm not going to put it behind me and move on. I'm going to continue to dig, because if this man is innocent, now for those that just stumbled across the channel and are not smart, sophisticated, savvy, discerning, healthy Americans, let me repeat that. If he is innocent, I don't know that he is, and I don't know that he's guilty. And ideally, he will have a fair trial with an uncorrupt judge. Gee, how many of those are around in the United States these days? Probably big fat zero. It would be interesting to see. However, if he is the fall guy for this, because he either was a whistleblower, didn't want to go along with it, didn't want to take the money, was uncorruptible, couldn't be blackmailed, then shame on all of those evildoers, the diabolical demons, the public serpents who are serving evil because they either believe I would say on the one, because that's going to be your next question. Why would they do that, Peggy? Come on. You got to know why. Seriously, you don't know why. Let me pose the question to you. Why would they do it? Well, they would do it, number one, because they believe in it. So Missin Bisson, who is the mayor of Maui, who was installed right prior to the fires, the natural wildfires. Do you know what I'm talking about? The chief of police, yes, that's how you pronounce it. He also came onto the scene fresh from Las Vegas. Yeah, there were some shenanigans going on there with the bang bangs that didn't add up. He came onto the scene. The governor, Joshi, with the Band-Aid fetish, which is bizarre. I've covered that many times. That bears digger deeping and maybe some psychological assessment. He came onto the scene prior to these wildfires. So there's so much that doesn't add up here, and I will continue to dig into it. So they believe probably in what they're doing. They believe in the global swarming. Joshi Green New Deal believes in the Green New Deal. He's spoken at the United Nations. He talks about Build Back Better. He talks about the state of Hawaii taking this land for the good of the people. He's all about sustainability and resilience and green. That's his religion, okay? So there are plenty of people who believe that the cost of whatever it takes to push forth their agenda is worth it. So I would put a huge number of people in that brainwashed bucket. We see it all around us. We've seen it for years, the brainwashed bucket. Then there are people that have no soul. It's actually sad that they have been broken by the hardships of life. They feel that somebody owes them something and they'll do it for money. They'll do it to stick it to the man, or maybe they think all the rich people are out to get them or something. Who knows? And psychologically, they're messed up. And so they go along with this because now they feel like they're doing something. They're a part of something. They're the big man on campus. It's probably, if I were to analyze it carefully, probably another group of people would fall into that category. Then there are people that just do it for money. I mean, they could care less as long as they get their cut. And then there are people that I think were blackmailed, and that whatever was going to be exposed, like maybe this guy was being blackmailed and he said, I don't care, do whatever you want. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to go along with your evil. And then they throw these horrible things out in the press to destroy them. We saw it in the Trump trial with his cronies and attorneys and all of that, whatever side of the aisle you stand on, and hopefully you're not divided, because that's part of what they want to do is separate us so that we're easier to control. But the fact is, a lot of lives are destroyed in the process for people who will not give in, give up, or give over their freedom. So I really would like to know anyone who knows this man. I'm very curious to learn more about Sean Rogers, about his history, about who he is as a person, and about whether or not these charges are valid, or whether or not it's a smear campaign because he was going to be a whistleblower. You're telling me that's not possible? Yeah, it's possible. That's the way my mind thinks. All right, friends, wrapping up for now. I want to thank all of you. I am receiving beautiful cards and letters from my lovely Healthy Americans who are standing with me in my sorrow of my recent losses of my little ladies, my Elsie and Teddy Bear. And wait until I share with you in an upcoming video some astounding heavenly hugs. They're just coming, they're irrefutable, these signs and symbols that all is well and all will be well. And I believe that. And I believe that for our lives as well. God has put you here at this time to defend freedom, to stand for truth, to expose these evil deeds. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I would much rather talk about something more uplifting. And that's what I plan to do in the next upcoming videos. But there's so much to cover. It's all about critical thinking. It's all about not taking things at face value. I pretty much was raked over the coals by some people with my coverage on the I Can Legislate vaccine confidence bill. And to this time, and that's fine. You have your opinion. We all should have our own opinion, but base it in reality and on facts, and come to a logical conclusion, not one based on emotion. I'm willing to take the slings and arrows because I'm here to dig deeper and to not just accept things at face value, and to consider all of the possibilities. And just as if you were going to argue this into a court of law, what's the motivation? What's the evidence? Who could be behind this? Who's benefiting from it? I ask all those questions. I don't just look at the headline and go, oh, okay, that bad guy's being taken down. Let's dig deeper. The same thing about Fauci. I mean, you want to talk about like theater and performers, on a stage. All of this is driving the narrative of the concept of contagious diseases. You got to dig deeper, friends. All of that, the gain of function, the escaping from a lab with their little tennis shoes on, like what escaped? Like what actually escaped? Anybody explain that to me? Because these things are invisible and inert and not alive. So none of those things connect for me. It's pushing the narrative to make an imprint in people's minds that there are these things to be afraid of. And I know they've got a lot in the pipeline coming down the road, but I'm not even worried about it. I didn't comply the first time. Why would I do it now? If anything, more people are standing up and not going to give in, give up, or give over their rights. And just for the record, because somebody else sent this to me, the government didn't shut down anybody's business. Just to say this as well, the individual business owners shut them down. Either, let's go through the scenario again, either because they believed in it, they thought that they would kill people if they had their business open, or they were living in fear, or they thought the government had the right to tell them to close their business, or they were getting money, so they went along with it. There were the brave individuals that did not close their businesses. It wasn't easy. Some of them were arrested and slapped with fines, and all of these are being dismissed, as I predicted. Going on 5 years ago, I predicted that all of that would come out in the wash, and it has. So no, the government didn't close down anybody's business. I reject that phrase because it's imposing and imprinting on people's minds that the government can shut down businesses, and it can't, period, unless you actually are violating a law. You're not violating a law by keeping your business open lawfully. I built my business, The Healthy American, on teaching business owners how to keep their businesses open, helping parents get their children out of public school and into a superior learning alternative, how to get medical care without being discriminated against, how to get your legal immigration status without becoming a human pincushion, and how to let your employer know that you have rights and you have a right of no consent to any medical intervention they have no right to impose upon you. That's no different than your employer saying you're required to have an abortion, you're required to donate a kidney, you're required to get a tattoo with the company logo, and that probably is coming next. All right, friends, thanks for being on board on this live. Always great to see you. I'll take a look at all of your comments. Be sure you're here every day, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. That is 7 p.m. Eastern, where we get out of the spin cycle and we bring our feet back down to the non-spinning earth so that we can think clearly, expose evil, and help others read between the lies. All right. Thanks to the moderators. I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's broadcast.